session. In the shop today, we have some race car repair. This would be for a Janetta LMP3 prototype racer. What we're working on today is rebuilding some side pontoons. And this is the good one from the passenger side. This is the bad one from the driver's side. It sustained fairly good damage in a racing crash. And so I'm going to help my buddy get this fixed back up and get back on the track. This is the outside panel, and we've already started some of the repair here, doing a lot of reinforcing and putting some of the bits back together, trying to figure out some of the missing areas. And what I'm going to be using today is a two-part epoxy, A and B. I'm going to be using a little bit of a milled fiberglass. Running low on that, we'll need to get some. We'll need to get some more of that. And I'm also going to use a product called Cavasil. This is a thickener, so it'll help make the epoxy a little bit thicker than what it normally is. That's available from Express Composites out of Minneapolis, Minnesota. So, yeah, we have a pretty good reference of what the part should look like. And so basically I'm taking all these little broken bits, putting them back together, doing repair jobs. And then once we get all the pieces together, we will hopefully get a matching driver's side compared to our passenger side. So what I'm going to be doing here, setting up the camera, I've got very small repair areas. That's why we're going to do this live, just to kind of blast through it and talk about the steps. Got a couple pre-cut sections of carbon fiber here. And behind that, these panels are a Prepreg honeycomb construction. So you can see the actual broken honeycomb that's behind there. And what I'm going to be doing is mixing up an epoxy with our filler package. And I'm basically going to kind of flood that honeycomb area, filling it out. Then I'm going to cover it with carbon fiber, using a release film. We'll top it off. It'll be a beautiful repair once it's all set to rock and roll. This little area right here was repaired doing the same technique, and you can see that it's almost seamless. So that's what we're going to shoot for. Hopefully this helps you guys out a little bit. I don't know how many people are going to be doing carbon fiber race repair, but this is very, very true to not just carbon fiber, but also fiberglass as well. So you want to isolate your damage zone, pre-cut all your pieces, and then, yeah, do your repair. So I've got a couple different buckets here measured out already. I've got my resin, I've got my hardener. So we're going to put those together. Epoxy, you do need to mix epoxy a little bit more than a polyester or vinyl ester blend. And this epoxy I'm working with is from Premium Resin Tech. Again, available from Express Composites. I believe Composite Envisions also sells this. But we're going to mix this pretty darn good. And then once this is mixed, I'll add the filler package in. We'll start with the milled fiberglass first, and then we'll come back and then we'll add the thickener for that honeycomb area. I didn't want to get into a big repair because the video would take forever and a day, but doing a small repair like this, I can show you guys the technique. And answer any questions if anybody's got any. So this is not my first race car repair job. I've done a few of these prototype race car repairs, and they all are made very, very similar. They're all honeycomb construction. They're all pre-preg, so it's very, very, very lightweight panels. And so there's not a lot of carbon here. I mean, if you look at how thin the actual carbon fiber is, that's only one layer of carbon. So it's one layer of carbon, the honeycomb, and then one layer on the other side. They're very, very, very thin panels, but they're extremely rigid. And when they break, they break. So yeah, so got our epoxy kind of setting right now. It's going to do a little bit of off gassing. I'll come back in just a second here. Going to get our first filler package. And again, this is the milled fiberglass. So it's nothing more than a fiberglass powder. And what I'll do is basically separate some of the epoxy into its separate cup. And I don't need a ton, so I'm kind of gonna do this on the sparing side, if you know what I mean. And I'm literally just gonna dump this in. You don't need a ton of this. Adding your milled powder actually gives you a lot of structural strength. The epoxy itself doesn't have any strength, so when you start adding a filler package in there, it gets strong really quick. This is the Cabosil. This is a thickener. So I'm literally going to do the same thing. I'm going to take a little hand scoop here, dump that in, and you'll see what happens really, really quick here. This will turn into like a paste, like a slurry almost. See, it's nice and thickened. And so what I'm going to do with this now that we have our paste made, is like I said, right out of the gate, I'm going to take the slurry that I just made up, and I'm literally going to pack it into those honeycomb cells the best I can. This is going to help tie our carbon fiber into the original stuff that's already there, giving it a little bit more strength than just putting the fiberglass on by itself. And I'm just using a brush to do this. This consistency is fairly low viscosity, so it will kind of soak in. I'm trying to make a bunch of short videos on doing this repair process, and there is a lot of repair, and it's really difficult to show you guys step by step on some of the bigger stuff, just because the steps don't take 10, 15 minutes. They take 2 hours, 3 hours, that kind of thing. So when I do come across a time when I can show you guys some repairs, I will try to hop on live and do it as it comes. So stay tuned. If you like this kind of stuff, try to subscribe, like some videos, all that kind of fun jazz. All right, so I'm gonna take this camera here so I can just show you up close. Thank you very much. All right, so there is our filled epoxy slurry into that honeycomb structure. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Yeah, anything helps with buying materials and paying for the bills, if you know what I mean. There we go. And if you're in America, I'll send you a gift. There you go. So that's what our honeycomb structure looks like. I'm going to set this down for just a second here. Take our carbon fiber strip. This is a plain weave carbon fiber. You can tell it's a plain weave because the fabric toe goes left and right, up and down, but it's one up, one over. So that's a very, very common type of carbon fiber used in the industry. There we go. And it's not going to take a whole lot of resin to actually make this happen. So I'll make sure we cover our damage zone there. I definitely mixed up more than I needed. I only mixed up about 120 grams, which is only a few ounces. And that's more than enough for what I'm doing. I probably could have mixed up half and gotten away with it. I'm going to pick this up and show you guys this while I'm laminating. This is easy enough to do. So a lot of people will over resin their fabrics, and that's fiberglass or carbon fiber. The rule of thumb is for whatever your fabric weighs is what you need for resin. So this small amount of fabric here probably only weighs a couple ounces. And so that's really all you need. I mean, it's probably a half an ounce actually. 1/2 ounce to 1 ounce. There we go. So you try to move that resin as thin as you possibly can. You do not need to add extra. Don't need to add extra resin. The resin, again, doesn't have any strength to it whatsoever. So the strength is actually the carbon fiber and the reinforcement that you have, not the resin. So we'll let this sit for just a second here. There we go. And now we're going to do the next one here. Same thing. And so what's going to happen here once this cures up is the carbon fiber on the outside is going to, oh, look at that. I got a little bit of repair not quite covered right there. So we're going to move this carbon fiber over just a little bit. There we go. There, that's where I want it. Just like downtown. There we go. So yeah, that is our carbon fiber repair for both of those little sections, right? Very, very, very easy. Now, here's where the pro tip comes. Take your perforated release film or peel ply, again, available at most of your composite supply stores. You're going to set that over that wet carbon fiber area. And you can do this by hand. If you want to use a brush, that's fine too. No big deal. 6 one, half dozen the other. It'll work out either way. And basically, you just want to saturate the back of this perforated release film around your repair zone. And what this is going to do is, I'll show you in a second here. I'm going to do the large one here as well. There we go. You can see some of it's already bleeding through on its own just with the weight of the fabric. So what this is going to do is make your surface finish look very, very professional once your repair is done. This is all on the back side, so nobody's ever going to see it anyway. But if you can, use a perforated release film, because it looks better in pictures and videos. And again, I'll show you in a second what this looks like once it gets out. I can show you what it looks like with and without actually on the other piece. There we go. So there is our carbon fiber repair zone for the backside. Now there was a whole lot of prep work getting to that point. Everything's been ground up, scuffed up, all the edges are prepared to kind of put these pieces together again. And I'm going to get this epoxy out of the way quick because it's going to start going off pretty darn fast. This fast hardener, they mean it when they say this is fast hardener. It is fast. 15 minutes is not a lot of work time. So if this is your first time doing a carbon fiber repair, we're sitting at 13 minutes right now, 14 minutes. And something like this could easily take you twice as long if you don't know what you're doing. So when it comes to the surface finish though, so this area up here, I did not put the peel ply on. And you can see there's a little bit of a fray on the edge. If you can see that, it's kind of glossy. This area down here, I did put the peel ply on. And that looks a lot more close to the stock peel ply finish from the Prepreg, how the manufacturer gave it. So there you go, tricks of the trade. How's that work? So yeah, there we go. 2 very, very small repair areas, but that is the technique. We just have to go around all this damage zone and basically copy that for every single area. And then once these pieces are prepped and ready to go, they will get assembled. This piece will be assembled on that piece. And that'll come up with another trick of the trade and another step of the process of panel bonding adhesive, because we're going to use panel bonding adhesive around the perimeter. We're going to use panel bonding adhesive around the top flange there. And then we're going to have to go inside and actually do the repair on the back side as well. So yeah, it's going to be a fun process, but we're going to get this repaired and it's going to look just like that, brand new, ready to race again very, very soon. So thanks for stopping by. That's all for today's lesson. Hope you guys learned something and stop by and say hi again. Have a good one.